What's going on, guys? I'm here today to talk to you about Meps, also known as the Military Entrance Processing Station. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's literally the station where you go to officially get processed into the military. So what you do when you go down there is everything from taking your ASVAB to an extensive medical evaluation, getting assigned your MOS, or if you don't know what your MOS is, it's going to be your military occupation. And last but not least, swearing in. So what this video is for is to just give you an idea of what to expect when you go down to Meps, whether Meps is your next step in your military process, or if you're not even a part of the military yet, or you're just thinking about joining, this video is for you, just to lay out what Meps is. So, just in case you are someone that's thinking about joining the military, I'm going to cover all of the steps that come before Meps as well in a general synopsis. And if this is your next step, this is what's probably happened already. You've probably had 2 to 3 meetings with your recruiter. That first meeting, they usually fill you out. They ask you, what your goals are, why you wanted to join the military, how you heard about the military or heard about joining the military. The second meeting, the first meeting, you're probably also going to take this really short test that gives your recruiter an idea of what you could score on the ASVAB, what your potential is for your ASVAB score. So that second meeting, you'll probably be filling out quite a bit of paperwork. If they didn't already give you your initial paperwork at that first meeting, that second meeting, you're definitely going to be filling out a lot of paperwork. Excuse me. I just want to prep you, before you get there. When I say paperwork, I mean like 10, 20 pages of paper. No, I mean like in the ballpark of 100 pages of paperwork. The military is very thorough as far as your background check is concerned. They want to know all of your work experience, school experience, residential life, where you've lived throughout your life. What else? Of course, medical experience. Any run-ins with the law, criminal history. If your recruiting station is actually eligible to give out this test, they have a test called the PICAT. Really, to me, it's the equivalent of the ASVAB. They sit you down in the same testing room where you took that short test on the first day, and you take the PICAT, which is usually around an hour and a half to 2 hours long. And it's your aptitude test for the military. They do everything from, mechanical to mathematical, word knowledge, English or grammar, however you want to call it. They do, all the basic categories that you will find on the aptitude test, and that you will find on the ASVAB. So the cool thing about that is it's a little less pressure. At least it was for me, because it was in a calm environment and I was in a room all by myself. And pretty much you get that score on that PICAT test, and that tells them what you could make on the ASVAB, or what you probably would make on the ASVAB. The only thing about taking the PICAT is when you go down to Meps, you actually have to take an ASVAB verification test, which isn't anywhere near as long as the ASVAB itself. The ASVAB is like 3 hours long. But the verification test is just to make sure that you actually pretty much are as smart as your scores indicated from the PICAT. So I think that test is like maybe 30 minutes long. The verification test is like 30 minutes long. And you have to score, around the same score that you got on your PICAT in order for them to allow you to keep that score that you got on your podcast as your ASVAB score. Aside from taking the podcast, the other thing that you do before you go down to Meps with your recruiter is actually set your Meps date, of course. So that's pretty much just, like I said, setting your date for going down to Meps, the date that you'd be available to go down to Meps. So all right, guys. So now that we've covered what happens before you go down to Meps, we're going to talk about what happens when you actually go down there. So you and your recruiter are going to meet up on the date that you guys set. Wherever you guys meet up, you hop in their vehicle. They take you down to the military entrance processing station. From there, that first day, what you're going to do is take your ASVAB. If you didn't take that podcast, like I was talking about earlier, in your hometown, you take the actual ASVAB with a group of other people. It might be like 15, 20 people in the room with you at the same time. Like I said, it's a 3-hour test. You also take a test called a TAPAS test, and it's pretty much a personality test. They say it's no right or wrong answers, but you can fail that test. Unfortunately, I'm not the one to talk to about how to pass that test. I just know I passed. And there was some really weird questions on there, by the way. But anyway, yeah, you take your ASVAB the first day. From there, that's really all you're going to do your first day. You might go with your recruiter to your liaison's office, get to meet them, hang out in their office for a little while, depending on how cool your recruiter and your liaison are. If you're fortunate enough, you might actually even get a sneak peek at the MOSs that are available. But at the same time, I would strongly advise that you don't get your hopes too high as far as MOSs are concerned, because I found out the hard way that your dream MOS can be there 1 second, your liaison refreshes the page, and it's gone just like that. You have to remember they're filling vacancies from all over the nation. So, you can have hopes and dreams for MOS, but please don't dream too big. I don't know. Anyway, so that's the first day. Take your ASVAB, and then, if you didn't come down with your recruiter, what you're going to do is hop on the bus after you take your ASVAB, and that bus is going to take you and, however many people are done taking their ASVAB around the same time you got done. You're all going to get on the bus and go from Meps to the hotel. You're going to check in to your hotel room. Depending on how early you get there, you'll have time to chill, kick it, hang out with everybody. Nobody in anybody else's hotel room. As far as opposite sex is concerned, you can't have a girl in your room if you're a guy, and vice versa. But yeah, you guys can hang out all around the hotel. It's totally fine. Do not drink. Definitely don't smoke. I mean, any controlled substance or illegal substance. They will find it the next day. But anyway, yeah, like I said, depending on how early you get there, you can chill. If you get there closer to 7, around 8, that's around the time you're gonna have your dinner. Everybody meets up and gets those highly coveted box lunches. So again, you take your ASVAB in groups, and depending on what group you're in and how fast you finish, that determines what time you'll get to your hotel. So from there, you have lights out at 10. I stayed up past 10. That's a personal choice. If you're, chilling, not making a ruckus or too much noise, I stayed up and watched a basketball game. I was still pretty well rested for the next day, but what happens is the next morning you get up around 4:30. My advice would be to have your stuff already laid out for the next day as far as clothes and hygiene are concerned. Just have it all laid out so you can wake up, roll out of bed, as groggy as you might be, get it done, get where you're supposed to be on time. You do not want to get anywhere late. I mean, you know, it's not guaranteed that something's going to happen to you, like you're going to suffer a repercussion every time, but you really don't want to start that habit in the military at all anyway. So yeah, I would advise you to get down to breakfast around maybe 4:45, 4:50. At least. And you know, you're gonna start waiting for the bus around 5:30 is when the bus arrives. The bus takes you from the hotel to Meps, the military entrance processing station. You arrive there maybe around 6, depending on how close it is. You arrive, you know, however long it takes for the bus to get from the hotel to Meps. I know my bus wouldn't leave until a certain time, so we could get there at 6 because Meps wasn't that far away from our hotel. So yeah, you get there, and my advice, once you pull up to Meps, my advice is to, even when you get on the bus, sit at the front of the bus. I know a lot of people were fearful of, you know, not knowing military lingo or language, not knowing, you know, just regular, I don't know, the regular ins and outs of military. Maybe you were afraid that the sergeant was going to call you to attention and you didn't want to do anything wrong. Trust and believe. There's nothing to be worried about. They're not expecting you to come in a soldier. You're not even sworn in yet, so that's pretty much a ridiculous expectation. Unless you were ROTC or something, which is also great, but if you're not, please don't worry about it. The reason I advise you to get to the front of the line is because that's what I did, and I was done with everything before everybody else. So at Meps, you know, you do, like I said, you do everything from your medical evaluation, them getting your fingerprints, you getting your MOS and swearing in. So this is the order in which it happens. You know, you check in, go through a metal detector to make sure you don't have anything on you as far as weapons are concerned. You all go in this big room. There are going to be people there for different branches of the military. I know when I went, at least, I thought it was just going to be National Guard because that's what I was joining. But, you know, it's people from literally every branch of the military. So what the person that's over Meps, he was a sergeant, but I'm not sure exactly what you call the person that's over Meps. He would call us up by our branch. And once again, I got up, I was the first one, or actually I was the second one in line for my branch, but still, try to get to the front of the line. It does make a difference. I know they say it's a bunch of hurry up and wait at Meps. It is, but you can make it easier on yourself if you're at the front of the line. You know, it's even more weight if you're at the back of the line. I kid you not, I was off of the medical floor in, I believe it was 50 minutes, which is, according to my recruiter, unheard of. He had never had anyone come off the medical floor that fast. I mean, if you know your stuff, you know, you just sit down, do what they tell you to do, do exactly what they tell you to do. The process will be swift. What else? Yeah, so after you're done with your medical exam, of course you took your ASVAB the day before. You go down to your liaison's office with all your medical paperwork that they gave you, just letting them know that you're cleared and whatnot. They have a few forms that they're going to give you from the medical floor that your liaison requires, but they'll let you know everything about that. You really don't have to worry. Like I said, you just go to the medical floor, do what they say, get it over with. if your recruiter discussed anything with you as far as medical history is concerned, if, like, say for instance, you had asthma as an adolescent and your recruiter said, do not mention that, or say, no, you have never had asthma, say no, no matter how much they pry at you on the medical floor. I guarantee you, it might seem intimidating. It might seem like, oh man, they're gonna figure me out. Nobody on that medical floor is calling your hospital from when you were 6 years old to see if you had asthma. You'll see when you get there, it's like clockwork for these people. They're trying to get you in and out, trying to get it over with as soon as possible. Believe it or not, there are lazy people in the military just like every other occupation in the world. So, don't feel pressured into saying yes just because they ask you very sternly. Stick with what your recruiter told you to do. So you go down to the liaison. They'll show you the MOSs that are available. For me, I'm fortunate to have family members. Both of my brother-in-laws are in the National Guard. So they kind of, showed me the ropes, and I was able to see what MOSs I was eligible for. I even requested that I see the ones that offered signing bonuses. Some offer signing bonuses or the student government loan repayment option. And I think National Guard offers like $50,000 in student loan repayments if your ASVAB score is over 50. You can do that. Seriously, you can do that. But what I did was I opted for an MOS with a signing bonus because of extenuating circumstances in my life. And quite honestly, I'm happy with the choice I made for my MOS. But if money isn't an issue right now and you're getting in school, I would strongly advise going for the student loan repayment option. But yeah, talk to your liaison. They love telling the stories about what detachment they served at, or what unit they were in, what MOS they had, and what MOS they wish they had, why that MOS was cool. Just talk with them, and then from there you'll be able to figure out, all the research you did online is fine and dandy, but when you talk to someone that served in the MOS and can give you an honest opinion about it, I'd take that 9 times out of 10 to help me make my decision. So from there, also be advised, you are not required to pick your MOS right there. No matter how much they pressure you into trying to pick a MOS, if you're not comfortable with that MOS, you do not have to pick an MOS that day. If you drove 3-4 hours just to get the Meps, your recruiter will be okay. They need a quota to meet, and they might try to pressure you into getting a specific MOS. No, you don't have to do that. They will bring you back, and there will guaranteed be different MOSs available the next time you come back. I went back a second time, and I was able to get a better MOS than what was offered, the first time we went down there. But yeah, so you get your MOS, and from there, if you're happy with the MOSs that you saw, and you saw one that you wanted, pick it. They assign it to you. They read off all the qualifications. If you need top secret or secret security clearance for your MOS, they do another kind of background check for you. But if you made it this far, you're fine. More times than not, I think they do like a credit check and another criminal history check just to make sure you really didn't have any run-in with the law, or that all your tickets are paid if you did. And then from there, that's when you go down and swear in. So, you know, if you have family members that you want to be there, you just let them know, hey, my swear in is at such and such a time. You can come on the base. I believe they send your recruiter to meet them at the gate of the base, and you know they escort them in or whatever, and they can take pictures. You know, they can be there to witness you swearing in, and from there you go home. And actually, you know, you also find out your ship date when you get your MOS. That's when you find out your ship date for basic training, and AIT. AIT is your schooling for your MOS, where they teach you how to do your job in the military. So yeah, that's pretty much the process, and that's what to expect at Meps. All right, thanks for watching. Hit that like button.